Did you know that colleges in US say that you should be spending at least 200 hours on your application? In this video, I have broken down the exact steps to apply. Hey guys, this is Mansi Sanghavi. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you're new here, do consider subscribing because here's where I post new videos every week about career, interviews, and anything that will help you in your personal and professional life to grow. In today's video, I'm giving you the step-by-step process to apply to a university abroad for your MBA program. So let's begin. Well, I did my MBA around 10 years ago. In the year 2011 is when I went into my MBA, and 2013 is when I graduated. And at that point, there were not a lot of people who were guiding me through YouTube or any other medium. So I did a lot of my groundwork from the base, and it was an experience for me, knowing so many things which I had not known before and discovering different schools, talking to different people. So what I have done in this video is I have gone ahead and broken down each step that you need to follow while applying for your dream B school, and I'm going to share bits and pieces of my experience also that I did, and also some of the things that you should be doing versus you should not be doing. So let's begin. The first step is to prepare yourself. Preparing starts from the time you actually have decided that, okay, I want to do an MBA. For me personally, that was when I was in my second year of BA and I was pursuing my majors in psychology. And then I realized that maybe this is not something that I would be happy with because the field doesn't pay as much, and I was not super inclined towards what I was actually studying. Although I know that psychology has benefited me a lot in my career today, but at that point I did not want to get into the traditional cognitive psychology fields or counseling at any moment. So I knew that I wanted to do an MBA. The question was more of, do I want to do it from India or abroad? And then I finally decided to do it from abroad. So that was the turning point for me, and that's when I started understanding what are the certain things that I need to do today so that I'm MBA ready in the next 2 or 3 years. It takes time, so it is not an overnight journey that you will just get up one day and you will say that, okay, let's start applying and you'll get admitted. It is not as easy. So the first thing is, when you decide that, okay, this is what I want to do in my life, start preparing yourself by looking at the B schools and their checklists. Every school will have their dream candidate written on their website. So what is it that each of these B schools want? But think of it from that perspective. Look at your resume. What are the things that you don't have? One of the very important things, especially in the US, people look for is community service. So if you've not spent a lot of time in doing community service, now is the time that go ahead and spend some time in an NGO, do something out of your way to help the community. Also identify the gaps in your resume, things where you think it could be a deal breaker, or if there is a gap in your resume, try to compensate that by working harder today. So it's okay if that time has been lost, but brush up things that you can do today and which is in your hands today. I had personally taken one entire year to go through the college application because at that time it was not a very automated process. It was all manual. So right from going ahead and writing down the essays to thinking of how to send the college application to filling everything, getting transcripts, I had all hard copies that went into these universities, and I spent more than like hundreds of dollars in just sending these application forms to around 15 universities that I aspired to get into. So now of course the process is way easier and you can do a lot of things online, and only once you're accepted they'll ask you to send in the hard copies, etc. Like once you've decided, okay, this is the university or the B school that I want to get into. So things have definitely eased down in that aspect currently. The second step is to identify your strengths. Give yourself around 1 to 2 weeks to go ahead through this entire process. Think of the times that you've done something on the leadership level, something in which you've helped your colleagues, something where you stood out, people have complimented you, any certifications, something that sets you apart from the other candidates. In this, I would suggest not only just write your technical skills and things that you've achieved. What are the core qualities in you that make you more likable versus somebody else? Are you hardworking? Are you somebody who likes to help others? So Think of it in a way that what is it that will make your application unique compared to others while they're applying. The third step is to define your career goals. Now, this has to be in line with what the university has to offer. So in this case, you have to think of what is it that I want to do once I'm through with my MBA. Do I want to start my own business? Do I want to work with an NGO? Do I want to work in XYZ company? So whatever are your career goals have to be in line with what the university also has to offer. In my case, when I had gone to Willamette, earlier on, I had this inclination towards HR. And for me, it was very important to select a university which gave the opportunity to select your courses in the second year. So once my core classes were done in the first year, I was able to go ahead and select different type of streams and classes, and then I got a general MBA. So a lot of times when you're very specific about, okay, this is what I want to do, if you want to do an MBA in HR, or if you want to do an MBA in operations and management and marketing, you can go for it if you're 100% sure. But if you're not 100% sure of what your work would look like, I would suggest go for a general MBA. See how it goes in the first year of selecting your core classes and all that, and then go and decide what you want to do in your second year. The fourth step is to select the university. Now you might be like, oh yeah, I know I really want to go to Harvard, but are you really the right candidate for Harvard? It's very important to have a reality check about yourself, what the university aspires as an average candidate versus what you are, what you have to offer on the table. Remember that it is not just about your GMAT or your TOEFL, it is you as an overall candidate. So which is why doing these CSR activities, getting into community service or going in for an NGO as a service is very important, because that will make you definitely stand out. Coming to the selection of colleges, you should go ahead and look at Business Insider, Forbes, all of these places where you have the list of rankings, of course, because that's going to be important for you. But besides that, spend a lot of time talking to students who are already enrolled into the program. Go on LinkedIn, send a request to people who are studying at that particular university that you are aspiring to get into. Ask them the right questions, create a short questionnaire of 4 or 5 questions. Ask people the same questions and see what comes out of it. Is that the type of university you want to get into? So it's more like a reverse selection, right? Like, it's not just about the university liking you, but you should also resonate with what the university has to offer for you. For this particular process, take around 2 to 4 weeks, because you will send in requests to people on LinkedIn, they'll reply to you, you might even have a chance to get on the call. So around 1 to 1.5 months also is okay, because you will have the top universities, like top 5, that you really aspire to go for, and then there'll be a mid where you know that you will definitely get selected, and then there'll be 1 or 2 for like the safety thing that you might not really want to get into it, but yeah, okay, that's sort of a plan B sort of a thing for you, right? So it's okay, take your time, because this is going to be a very important life decision for you. The fifth is write down all the qualities that the school is looking for. So identify the pattern or the fit qualities of this particular school that you're applying to. After doing the fourth step, you will know and identify like a pattern. On their website also, you will be able to see a lot of information around it. So once you spend time talking to current students and ex-students, take a chance to talk to anybody who's in their diversity team. So a lot of these universities have university ambassadors who have the opportunity to travel to different countries, and they conduct this thing called as career fairs. If you go and talk to them, that is like the best opportunity for you to know about how is the culture like, how are the people, how is the university, what kind of career opportunities are there once you pass that particular course. So I would highly urge you to enroll yourself into these career fairs, because it is not just about getting suited up and going there, but it's also about a lot of reality checks that you will have when you go and talk to these people. Especially if you're an international student, it's the best thing to do, because you can't go on the campus and take a campus tour, right? A lot of universities also have these things done virtually, so you can attend these events virtually, you can view their campus virtually. So do all of that and then make sure that you're 100% sure of what you're getting into. The sixth step is to go ahead and create a resume for yourself. Now, this will happen around after 1 to 1.5 weeks of what you've done in research. You'll obviously have a CV or a resume created beforehand, but here's where you will refurbish it a little bit more. You will have the qualities and the keywords or the buzzwords that they need from the university perspective. And understand one thing, this particular resume is not to give you a job, it is more to know about you. So be a little bit more descriptive than you would be in a typical resume. Write down a lot of things like your references, where you come from, like put in as much as information as you can. If possible, look at some of the templates also which are available online, so you understand what is expected in a university resume versus going and applying for a typical job. Take your time, create 2 or 3 iterations, and if possible, get it vetted by people who have already gone through this entire application process. The seventh step is writing your essays. Now, some people might think that, of course, I can go ahead and write an essay in like one day. It is a quick job for me. But trust me, it takes way longer than that, because I have gone through that entire process and it is not as easy as it might seem like. The only one common element which is there in most of the applications, which is your SOP, which is called as your statement of purpose. So what is the reason why you want to do an MBA? Why are you selecting this university? How do your career goals go in line with the university's offerings is what you need to sort of describe. That in general could have a similar template across all universities. But besides that, each university has its own application process, and in each of the applications you will have a essay or two to write about. So my recommendation is spend a lot of time on your SOP. First of all, once you're done with your SOP, circulate it within friends, family, acquaintances who can review it for you. Now, while that is happening, you can start working on each of the essays which you have to fill in for the university. So it will take time for you. It is not going to be an overnight job. It is not something that you can just think and write very quickly, because here's where whatever you've done in the earlier steps will add up. So all your research about the university, all your career goals, all your strengths, any activities that you've done in the past 1.5 years while you were identifying the gaps in your resume, everything has to be taken through, and you need to put it in your SOP and your essays. In this particular part, be as genuine as you can be, because if you are a misfit, it's okay, but you don't want to land into the wrong university. So take your time, be honest, and take as much as time as you can to write these essays. The eighth step is to go and provide supporting material. Sometimes supporting material could be letter of recommendations, people who are interested in talking about you, or any certifications, transcripts, etc. that you might be needing from your undergrad, or any sort of documentation that you will need to support your application. The one thing that I want to say here is that whenever you approach somebody to talk about yourself, like like a letter of recommendation, or something like that, be very sure that they are interested in your goals and your career, because you don't want that person to have a very generic view, like, okay, he or she is smart and hardworking. Like, those are very generic terms. You want that person to talk and articulate a little bit more about your personality, who you are, why are you the right fit for that university. So think of it as an advocate. That person is going to advocate your entire application in front of that university. So make that selection process very carefully. Be very sure of who you want to approach to get your recommendation when you're applying for colleges abroad. The ninth step is finally going ahead and giving college interviews. This happens once you've gone through the entire process and you're shortlisted and the university wants to come and talk to you. A lot of times this happens remotely because we are not in that particular country as international students. So you'll have either a phone call, you'll have a Zoom interview, it could be in any format, but basically what they want to know is, what was in your application? Are you really that kind of a person? Are you somebody who will be a good fit for their university? And in this particular interaction, it is your chance to ask the right kind of questions as well. So besides talking to the people you've already done through LinkedIn or the university ambassador, the person who calls you will also ask you like, do you have any questions for me? So utilize this particular time in asking the right type of questions, and then again analyzing or rethinking if this is the best university for me or not. So this was the entire process to apply to your dream university in the US. If you have any questions, please drop them below and I will make sure that I answer them. If you enjoyed this video, please do like, share and subscribe, because that keeps me motivated to keep creating these awesome videos for you guys. I will see you in the next week.